Welcome to the very first Razorback Reels of the spring semester. I'm Drew Chamberlain.
And I'm Olivas. Thank you for joining us for another great year. We have a jam-packed first episode for you all tonight.
We're talking all things music, TV, and books. It's truly a Reels you can kind of eat all episode. To kick us off, we have winners and losers.
Our in-studio reporters will be breaking down who's on top and who's in their flop era each week. Razorback Reels reporter Elena Thompson is here with the weekly breakdown.
This last week has seen a plethora of winners riding major highs, but also some major losers. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the barbs might come at me for this one, but this week's first loser is Nicki Minaj. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I watched this drama hit the fan in real time, and it still took me a while to understand what really happened and what everyone was so upset about. But really, it all started when Megan Thee Stallion released her new song, Hiss. In the song, there is one particular lyric that seemed to have hit a nerve. While I can't say it on air because of FCC guidelines, I can tell you that it mentions Megan's Law. For some more context, Megan's Law is a federal law that requires law enforcement to make information available about registered sex offenders. Some listeners heard this line and thought it was a dig to Minaj's husband, who is in fact a registered sex offender. And Nicki, of course, was quick to very publicly defend her husband. She took to Instagram Live saying the alleged digs towards her and her husband were bringing up 30-year-old T. She then went on to say that no man would ever love Megan Thee Stallion and that she was lying on her dead mother, who passed away back in 2019. Since then, Minaj released her new song, Bigfoot, where she declares that she is very serious about the situation and that there will be a second installment. There's much more that we could talk about with this whole situation, but with just that information alone, I think there's solid ground to say that Nicki is this week's loser. But let's move on to who I think is absolutely our top winner of the night, Miley Cyrus. Over the weekend, Miley Cyrus not one, but 2 Grammys for the first time ever in her career. Not only did Cyrus walk away with 2 awards, but she also had her first solo performance at the Grammys. Now, throughout the years, Miley has performed at the Grammys artists from Taylor Swift to Elton John, but this was her first lead performance. During the performance of her hit song Flowers, she paid homage to Tina Turner in a stunning dress with stunning hair. Cyrus had amazing ad-libs throughout the entire performance, at one point jokingly asking the audience, "Why are you acting like you don't know the song?" before singing, "Started to cry, but then remembered I just won my first Grammy." Miley is completely deserving of tonight's winner spot. No matter what, Miley always remains true to herself and lets her personality shine through. Many people, including myself, have seen Miley grow up from her days as Hannah Montana through bangers and now to a double Grammy award-winning artist. Unfortunately, that's all the time that I have for winners and losers. Check back in with Razorback Reels Instagram and let us know who you think should be our next winners and losers. Back to you, anchors.
Thanks, Elena, for that recap of the heroes and villains of the entertainment world this week.
We'll keep talking winners and losers with our next segment, a Grammy Award analysis, so stick around after the break.
No industry does awards quite like the world of entertainment. Our awards analysis reporters are here to give us the scoop on the fashion, wins, and snubs of the biggest award shows of the year.
This past Sunday was the 66th Annual Grammy Awards. Here in studio to recap music's biggest night, we have Konner Marsh.
The Grammy Awards took place on Sunday, and what a night it was. I'm Konner Marsh, here to recap the songs, stars, and snubs of music's biggest night. First, I want to talk about the pre-show, where a majority of the awards were announced that don't make it into the broadcast. Boy Genius took home 3 awards for Best Rock Song and Album, as well as the Best Alternative Album. Killer Mike swept the rap category, earning the titles of Best Rap Performance, Song, and Album. But the high of winning 3 Grammys didn't last long, as a video surfaced of the artist being arrested shortly after accepting his awards. Victoria Monet's Jaguar 2 took home Best R&B Album, while SOS won SZA the Best Progressive R&B Album. But more on those 2 later. Kylie Minogue took home a new category. Padam Padam won the Australian singer her first Grammy since 2004 for the Best Pop Dance Recording. Finally, I want to give shout-outs to Leve for winning Best Traditional Pop Vocal Album and Tyla for Best African Music Performance. each of their first Grammys. Now on to the big show. Artists like Dua Lipa, Travis Scott, and Billie Eilish all hit the stage and gave incredible performances. And speaking of Billie, What Was I Made For from the Barbie movie won Song of the Year. Miley Cyrus landed her first Grammy win ever. Flowers won her the award for not only Best Pop Solo Performance, but also Record of the Year. Lainey Wilson and Karol G got their first Grammys for Best Country Album and Best Musica Urbana Album, respectively. SZA was the star of the night with 2 performances, including a MasterCard-funded debut of an upcoming song called Saturn, and later she tearfully accepted the award for Best R&B Song. Victoria Monet took down competitors like Ice Spice, Noah Kahan, and Gracie Abrams, winning Best New Artist. Jay-Z won the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award, but not before calling out the Grammys themselves. The rapper mentioned how Beyonce, his wife, has won the most Grammys of all time, but has not once ever taken home Album of the Year. Moving on to the biggest name of the night, it's of course Taylor Swift. The singer won Best Pop Vocal Album early into the show, and in true Taylor fashion announced that she's dropping an album called The Tortured Poets Department in April. But that's not all. Taylor would go on to break the record for the most Album of the Year wins of all time when Midnight's won her the title for the 4th time. Overall, these Grammy wins didn't make me as mad as they usually do, but there were some definite snubs. I hate that Metro Boomin got 0 recognition in the rap category. I hate that Olivia Rodrigo went home without a single award for her work on Guts. And I'm just convinced that the Grammys will never award Lana Del Rey, as she's been nominated 11 times since 2014 and has not yet once taken home a Golden Gramophone. Well, there's your recap for the 2024 Grammy Awards. I'm Konner Marsh reporting for Razorback Reels.
Thanks, Connor. You deserve an award of your own for that wonderful report. Now, Ani, I don't know about you, there was a lot going on at this award show, and even some that we didn't get to touch on. I thought, you know, with Tracy Chapman and Luke Combs performing Fast Car, I thought that was a wonderful thing. And even, you know, with Killer Mike getting escorted out in handcuffs.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I saw that afterwards. I was like, oh my goodness, because I didn't actually watch it, but I was just watching like the replays, the live tweeting on X.
As well as I saw so many people upset that Killer Mike actually won Best Rap Album over Travis
really?
Scott. I saw a lot of people were upset about that. But then again, there's a lot more to take into account than like monthly listeners and stuff like that. People on Twitter were very upset due to the fact that Travis Scott had more, you know, monthly listeners, even though that's not what they're basing it off of.
No, yeah, and I also really appreciate Taylor, sorry to bring her up, but how she brought Lana on stage because she did help on the Midnight's album, and I do think that she deserved that recognition.
She definitely, Lana deserves an award at some point. Hopefully that comes soon.
Yeah. Well, we hope you stay tuned because in our next segment, Hog Wild Harmonies covers all things music. From artists to albums, our in-studio reporters are here to break down the greatest hits.
Taylor Swift broke records at the Grammys this weekend, and she also broke the internet with her latest album announcement. Our in-studio reporter, Maddi Phipps, is here to give us the rundown on all things Taylor.
I'm the reason we did a Taylor Swift special here at Razorback Reels. Do you really think I'm going to stay in the producing chair in the control room after Sunday night? I'm Maddi Phipps, and in this edition of Hog Wild Harmonies, we're breaking down Taylor Swift's newest announcement. Now, Taylor Swift has been breaking records and reaching new heights for the past few years like it's nothing. She's been absolutely inescapable for the entire 2020 decade so far, and it seems like she has no plans to stop. In case anyone has been sleeping under a rock for the last 5 years, here's a rapid-fire recap of her ascension to peak stardom. Since 2019, Swift has released 4 studio albums, Lover, Folklore, Evermore, and Midnights, 4 re-recorded Taylor's versions, Fearless, Red, Speak Now, in 1989, 1 documentary and 1 short film, 12 music videos, and the highest grossing tour in history with the Eras Tour. Oh, and a measly 198 awards. And it must be something about award shows that gets Taylor motivated to keep going, because this past Sunday, Swift announced her 11th studio album. After winning her 13th Grammy, Taylor took to the stage at Crypto.com Arena and shared with her fans the title of her upcoming album. The Tortured Poets Department will be released on April 19th of this year. After dropping the news, Swifties flocked to social media to see the album cover and search for any clues on the contents of the album. The black and white cover and academia aesthetic title have led some fans to speculate the return to the indie sounds of Folklore and Evermore, while others cling to the dreamy pop deep cuts of Midnights. Little is known about the sonic landscape or aesthetic Taylor will adopt for the era, but a track list has been revealed. The album features 16 tracks and 1 bonus song called The Manuscript. Notable tracks catching everyone's eyes are the two collaborative songs, Fortnite featuring Post Malone and Florida featuring Florence and the Machine. Other standouts in my opinion include But Daddy I Love Him, I Can Fix Him, No, Really I Can, and Clara Bow. While a track list and album cover may seem like little to go off of when it comes to predicting the sound of the recording, I think one thing is for certain. This is going to be the breakup album. In 2023, Taylor and actor Joe Alwyn broke up after 6 years together. And while Taylor has moved on to the star of the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce, she's always been honest and raw with her emotions on love and loss. I think we'll get a deep look into her relationship with Alwyn and herself as she navigated the biggest year of her career yet. As for the sound of Tortured Poets, I'm hoping for something new. I would love to hear Swift's take on a classic rock album, something close to Harry Styles' debut album or Boy Genius's The Record. Regardless of what she decides to do, I'm sure it'll continue to cement her legacy as one of the greatest musicians of all time. She's already beating most with her 4 Album of the Year Grammys. I can't wait to listen to this album, and of course, one day we'll get the Reputation Taylor's version announcement right. Reporting for Razorback Reels, I've been your favorite Swiftie, Maddi Phipps. I'm sending it back to you, anchors.
Thanks, Maddi, for talking about Taylor once again.
Time to put your headphones away because our next segment is a real page turner. Staying tuned after the break.
Nothing is quite as magical as reading a book that transports you into another world. Our in-studio reporters are here to give us all the latest in the literary world.
That's why our segment, Literature Lovers, is for all bookworms out there. We have Franchesca here in studio to tell us all about her favorite author.
Good evening, book lovers. As an avid book talk scroller, romance books have long held the spotlight in the literary world. Jane Austen, Nicholas Sparks, and Colleen Hoover have reigned for generations. But tonight we delve into the world of mystery and thriller books. As readers continue to lose themselves in the pages of heartwarming love stories, a new wave of literary excitement is sweeping through bookstores and digital platforms alike. Mystery and thriller novels emerge as the new go-to genre for those seeking adrenaline-pumping excitement, unexpected twists, and plots that keep them on the edge of their seats. Tonight, I want to spotlight just one author I haven't been able to put down in months, Riley Sager. You know that feeling when you finally open the pages of a book that you will not be able to stop thinking about until it's finished? That was me when I purchased Riley Sager's The House Across the Lake last summer. A plot that centers a woman who investigates the disappearance and possible murder of her glamorous neighbor who lives, you guessed it, across the lake. The House Across the Lake reminded me of the thrill of solving a mystery, navigating a suspenseful plot, uncovering details, and finally being able to turn to that last page when everything is calm. Most recently, I finished The Only One Left, a novel about a caregiver battling with her own past who gets assigned to Lenora Hope atop Hope's End, a house slowly falling into the sea. Lenora's family was brutally murdered in this house very years ago, and the secret to what truly happened lies within the partially paralyzed and mute patient. This book is incredible because it constantly changes the way the narrative is explained, adding and subtracting key details to keep whoever was there that fateful night in 1929 a secret. It almost feels like the book is working against you, like it too is trying to keep you in the dark. If you're curious about the mystery genre but don't want to jump headfirst into serial killers and the paranormal, Riley Sager and his abundance of novels is a great starting off point. Whether you're a seasoned fan of thrillers or someone seeking a fresh literary adventure, the mystery genre offers a tantalizing escape into the unknown. I'm Franchesca Brownhanney, reporting for Razorback Reels.
Thanks for giving us all an updated reading list, Fran.
Up next after the break, we'll be bringing in the Valentine's season reviewing The Bachelor. Stick around for our recap reality to see who secured their roses in the most recent episode.
Nothing reflects the state of the world quite like reality TV. But let's be honest, there are many shows to keep up with, so how could we ever keep track of all the latest drama?
That's where our next segment, Reality Recap, comes in. Our reporters break down their favorite TV shows' weekly updates. This week we have Gracie Thouy to recap The Bachelor.
Bachelor Nation fans' emotions are running high as they begin to debrief the latest episode of The Bachelor. The charismatic season 28 Bachelor Joey finds himself looking for love, but he can't seem to escape the drama that comes with it. Join me as I dive into a recap of last night's episode. The episode started with a group date that consisted of a pageant show judged by ladies from the Golden Bachelor. April, Susan, Kathy, and Nancy joined Joey as they judged the girls in the Mrs. Right pageant show. The pageant included a loungewear walk, a Q&A, and a talent show. Edwina started off the talent show strong, performing a song she wrote about Joey. Other talents seemed to be a flop, like Sydney's awkward cheer performance. Lexi Young took the Mrs. Right title after claiming to be the world's best kisser for her talent. After the pageant show, the girls continued their group date with Joey over some cocktails. Some girls shared their thoughts on the winner of Mrs. Right, while some revisited last week's drama. After Joey confronted the girls about old drama, Sydney inserted herself into the situation. Maria called Sydney Miss Troublemaker, which seems quite fitting. Later in the episode, Jen scored a one-on-one date with Joey and they hit the waves for some surfing. While Joey was in his natural habitat, he was able to give Jen some lessons while getting to know her better. Later, they shared a romantic dinner and Jen opened up to Joey. The second group date started with tennis lessons that turned into the Bachelor Open, where the girls played tennis against each other in silly costumes. All the girls were very competitive, but Kelsey T and Evelyn came out on top. The day ended with a cocktail party and more opportunities for the girls to talk to Joey. Joey and the girls enjoyed a pool party all together, but the enjoyment only lasted so long until Sydney's drama came back. Sydney seemed to create drama on her own about Maria, which led to Joey having conflicting conversations with them, but he still decided to give them both roses during the rose ceremony. Next week, Bachelor Nation fans can expect a 2-night event on Monday and Tuesday. The Bachelor and remaining 15 girls take on Malta, and the drama continues with a preview of Maria and Sydney going on a 2-on-1 date with Joey. For Razorback Reels, I'm Gracie Thouy. Back to you, anchors.
Ooh, what a wacky week on The Bachelor. Thanks, Gracie, for recapping it for us.
Whether it's a sitcom, limited series, or animated program, binge watching a great TV show is a perfect pastime.
Our in-studio reporters are here to help us navigate through the wild world of cable and streaming.
The critically acclaimed book series Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Rick Riordan was turned into a television show by Disney. The show just ended last week with great reviews from fans and critics alike. I'm Katie Glanton. Let's get into my review on this franchise in the making. This isn't the first time Percy Jackson was adapted for the screen. The series developed into a movie in 2010 with a sequel in 2013. This adaptation, however, did not consult the author, Rick Riordan, so it left a sour taste in every Percy Jackson fan's mouth. When fans heard the news that the beloved franchise would be getting an accurate TV show adaptation, we were all stoked. The casting of the show was perfect, with all the characters being picked out by the author himself. The 3 main characters went to Walker Showbowl as Percy Jackson, Leah Jeffries as Annabeth Chase, and Ian Chimhedry as Grover Underwood. The actors all had such good chemistry, and although they weren't exactly like we imagined, they brought the characters to life better than we could dream. The show had 8 episodes in its first season, premiering on December 20th, followed by the weekly release schedule. Each episode had fans on the edge of their seats wanting more. It was very surreal seeing all the places we thought were just in our heads. I cried a little bit after seeing Camp Half-Blood and all its cabins for the first time. I felt like a little kid hearing the story of Percy Jackson all over again. The TV show overall was pretty close to what the book had in store. They had to change a few things so it could fit better onto the screen, but those changes still made sense in terms of the plot. Like, for example, Percy fighting Mrs. Dodds in the first episode. It's not as epic as we remember in the book, but it was a TV show, and they didn't have time to have a giant fight scene. If you're looking for more Olympians content before the next season comes out, Disney Plus just released a documentary about the making of the show. In general, the show gave people who grew up on the Adore series a beautiful story they know and added new elements that left most satisfied, made waiting for the show so worth it. For Razorback Reels, this has been Katie Glanton.
Thanks, Katie, for catching us up on the world of Percy Jackson.
Welcome back to Razorback Reels. Drew, is there anything you've been watching recently? Any new media?
In terms of recent media consumption habits, I've been trying to catch up on all of the Oscar-nominated movies. I host a watch party for the Oscars every March, and so we play a little game. We like to make sure we've seen majority of all the categories. Still a lot on my list. I got to watch Poor Things, as well as The Zone of Interest, a bunch of other things that are still on my list. What about you?
Well, I've just recently started watching Vanderpump Rules. I know I'm super late to the game, but my best friend just showed it to me. And I really didn't realize that it was about like a restaurant. And as a waitress myself, I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, this is why we don't hook up with our, can I say that? this is why we don't get involved with our coworkers.
I love it. Vanderpump Rules is definitely a show that's been on my family, their radar. I can't say I have too much interest in it. Any sort of upcoming TV shows, movies you're looking forward to? Any music, album releases?
You know what? I'm really looking forward. I'm super late on this, but I just finished the last episode of The House of the Dragon. So I'm super excited for that one to come out. I was just like putting it off watching the last episode because I was just so anxious and like nervous about it. But yeah, basically that's all I have on my radar right now. What about you?
Unfortunately, I haven't seen Game of Thrones or House of Dragon yet. I know I'm the worst. I know it's on my list. I have to. Up next, though, I think I want to watch a lot of just like some miniseries that are still on my list, like some HBO miniseries, Band of Brothers, Watchmen, The Offer, which was on Paramount with Miles Teller. All of those are very much on my list. But in terms of that, not much else.
And that's a wrap on the episode. Tune in next Tuesday for another edition of Razorback Reels. I'm Ani Olivas.
And I'm Drew Chamberlain. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Razorback_Reels. Have a wonderful night.